Picture this. You're walking through a winter forest. Snow crunching under your boots, frost nipping at your cheeks. It feels empty, totally abandoned. No people, no sounds, just miles and miles of nothing. And then, suddenly, you feel it. A weird, cold sensation right between your shoulder blades, like a heavy, alien gaze just slammed into your back and won't let go. You spin around. Nothing. Just cedar branches swaying in the wind. But no, you're not crazy. You didn't imagine it. You are being watched. And whoever it is, they've been watching you for a while. The master of the taiga doesn't show his face without a reason. If you see an Amur tiger, it's because he let you. Or you made a mistake. A mistake you usually pay a very high price for. Look, I'm not going to bore you with dry stats or reports today. We're talking about real encounters. About that feeling in your gut when you realize you're standing in front of a living, breathing, killing machine weighing 550 pounds. And why, when he has every chance to tear you apart, he usually just turns around and melts away. These are the stories that make your palms sweat. Let's get into it. You know what the scariest thing in the taiga is? It's not the roar. It's not fresh tracks. It's the silence. The tiger is the perfect predator, and his main weapon isn't his fangs. It's invisibility. I know guys who've lived in Siberia for 40, 50 years and never seen one. Not once, even though the tiger has seen them hundreds of times. His coat? It's absolute perfection. You'd think a bright orange beast on white snow would stick out like a sore thumb. Optical illusion, seriously. In the undergrowth, where shadows mix with patches of light, dead grass, red trunks, the tiger just dissolves. You could be staring right at him from 60 feet away and swear it's just a bush. There was this one case, a ranger told me about it. He sat down on a fallen tree to rest, had a smoke, looked around, nothing. He stands up, walks maybe 10 yards, and the snowdrift, right next to where he was sitting, suddenly stands up, shakes itself off, and quietly walks into the thicket. Think about that. The guy sat next to death for half an hour, and the tiger? He just lay there, waiting for the weird two-legged creature to finally leave. So why didn't he attack? Simple. A well-fed, healthy tiger isn't a maniac. He doesn't take unnecessary risks. To him, a human is just confused. We smell wrong, like gasoline, gunpowder, chemicals. We're loud. To a beast, we're basically aliens. His first reaction is interest, maybe a bit of caution. He studies us. He knows our trails. He knows where we set traps for sable. Tigers actually love walking in human footprints. They step exactly into your track, so perfectly you only find out when you walk back later. It's a game to them, but we don't make the rules. But what happens when you actually bump into each other? When the camouflage fails and you're locking eyes? This is the moment of truth. Most people just freeze. And honestly, that's the best thing you can do. Zoologists always say this one thing. A tiger almost never attacks immediately unless he's hunting you. In a surprise meeting, say around a bend in the trail, he gets scared too. Yeah, even a giant gets spooked. He might bark. It's a short, dull sound that hits you right in the chest. That's a warning. He's saying, I am here. Stop. The biggest mistake rookies and tourists make? Running. Never do it. Burn this into your brain. You cannot run from a tiger. The second you turn your back and bolt, his instinct kicks in. Anything that runs is prey. Period. Even if he wasn't planning to attack a second ago, your back is the go signal. There was a case in the Maritime Territory. A group of geologists bumped into a young male. He stepped onto the road just out of curiosity. Young tigers are cocky. They haven't learned to be careful yet. He stood there, watching. The people froze. 5 minutes. 5 endless minutes. Then one of the geologists, an old woodsman, started talking. Calmly, slowly. No sudden moves, no shouting. He just said, "Come on, brother. Go your own way." And the tiger? He snorted, turned around, and walked into the bushes. Animals smell confidence, and they smell panic. Smelling like fear in front of a predator? That's the worst thing you can do. A lot of people think you only meet them in the deep, dark thicket. Nope. Most of the time, you run into a tiger right on the road. Logging routes, clearings, dirt tracks. Why? Because the tiger isn't stupid. Picture winter in Siberia. Snow up to your waist. Trudging through that is hard work, even for a tiger. Why waste the energy? Here's a packed road, tracks from heavy machinery. Of course he's going to use it. We basically pave highways for them. Ask any timber truck driver. They've got dozens of stories. Night road, headlights carving 2 green dots out of the blackness. A tiger might walk right down the center line and not even think about moving. He knows the machine won't eat him. He's the boss here. I've heard of tigers lying down on the warm asphalt or dirt to take a nap. And the driver? He just has to wait. Honk the horn? Dangerous. A sharp sound can trigger aggression, and suddenly your tires and your cabin are on the menu. But there's a dark side to this. Roads are conflict zones. Poachers shoot from cars, blind them with headlights. Tigers remember that stuff. If a tiger has been shot at from a car, he might see any vehicle as an enemy. There was a story where a tiger purposefully attacked the tires of parked cars, just shredding the rubber. It was revenge on the iron monsters. So if you see a tiger on the road, you never know. Is he just curious? Or does he have a personal score to settle with humanity? But look, not every meeting is about aggression or curiosity. Sometimes a tiger comes to people because he has no choice. These are the heartbreaking ones. When a predator, strong and proud, is broken by hunger or pain. There are no dentists in the wild. A broken fang, a rotted tooth, a bone stuck in the gum, it's unbearable pain. The beast can't hunt. He gets weak, and survival instinct pushes him to the only easy food left: humans. Or, more likely, their dogs and livestock. Remember the story of the tigress in Solensovi village? She was exhausted, done. She didn't attack anyone. She just walked up to a house, lay down on the veranda, and stayed there. The owner came out, thought it was a dog in the dark. Turned out to be a tiger. She didn't even have the strength to growl. Her teeth and gums were so bad she hadn't eaten in weeks. In moments like that, the beast changes completely. The rage is gone. It's just emptiness and apathy. Her eyes didn't have anger, just this endless fatigue. Thank God they called specialists instead of grabbing guns. They sedated her, sent her to rehab. But imagine the shock. You step onto your porch for a smoke, and at your feet lies 400 pounds of living death, basically begging for help. That's when the myths about bloodthirsty killers fall apart. You realize how fragile life is, even for a giant like that. Let's get back to the real danger, though. The worst scenario? Walking up on a tiger at his kill. Forget psychology. Forget talking to him. This is pure instinct. No second chances. A tiger who just took down an elk or a boar is rewired. He's on edge. That's his meat, his survival. And then you show up. To him, that means one thing: rival. He's here to steal it. The strike can be instant. No roar, no show, just a launch. You won't even have time to realize you took a step in the wrong direction. A mushroom picker once stumbled onto a clearing where a tiger was burying a boar. The guy didn't even process what happened. The tiger knocked him down with one paw strike. Didn't finish him, just flattened him. Loomed over him, bared those teeth, roared right in his face, so the guy felt that hot, rotten breath, and then went back to the food. The guy crawled backward on all fours for 100 yards before he dared to stand up and run. What saved him? He fell. He stopped looking like a threat, became small, helpless. The tiger decided the competitor was neutralized. That is wild luck. Usually, if you approach a fresh kill, a davlenka, the tiger defends it to the end. Old woodsmen know, if you see ravens circling, if you smell that sickly sweet scent of decomposition, go around. Don't go looking. Curiosity in the taiga costs too much. The price is your life. There's a rule every kid in a taiga village knows. A dog on a chain is not a guard dog. It's bait. Everyone knows it. Tiger versus dog. That's a separate, brutal chapter of life out here. Tigers hate canines. Zoologists argue about it. Do they see a wolf competitor or just a snack? Doesn't matter. A tiger will take insane risks to snatch a dog off a chain. It's always the same script. Night. Barking cuts off into silence. You hear the chain ring tight, then a dull thud and a crunch. Morning comes and you find an empty collar. The metal hook isn't unclasped, it's either bent open or torn apart by brute force. And the calculation? It's frightening. Locals say a tiger can lie in the bushes for hours, just watching the yard, learning the schedule, waiting for the lights to go out. But the creepiest thing? The luring. Tigers can mimic sounds. Seriously. He can make a noise like a bark or a howl to draw a dumb dog into the woods. A hunter told me his Laika, an experienced dog, suddenly snapped her leash and bolted into the dark at a weird sound. The hunter knew something was off, fired a shot in the air. That saved her. She came back with her tail between her legs, hackles raised. Next morning, on the fresh snow, they found prints of a huge cat sitting just 50 yards away, calling the dog to dinner. For a tiger, dog meat is a delicacy he'll walk right up to your porch for, ignoring fire and iron. There's a legend that tigers don't forget grudges. And weirdly enough, science kind of backs that up. They have a phenomenal memory. Scent, footsteps, the way you move. If you just pass by, he'll forget you in an hour. But if you hurt him, you're on the list. There are documented cases where a tiger stalked a specific poacher. Not just any human, that human. The guy who shot and missed. The most famous story, the one in all the books, is about a poacher named Markov. He wounded a tiger and stole its kill. Bad move. The tiger didn't go lick his wounds. He tracked down Markov's cabin. The tiger tore apart everything inside. I mean, everything. Shredded his clothes, absorbing the enemy's scent. Then, he just waited. 2 days by the door. When Markov came back, he was a dead man walking. It wasn't hunting for food. It was an execution. The tiger killed him and didn't even eat him right away. And that's the part that gets under your skin. These beasts understand cause and effect. Pain, human, scent, revenge. That's why old wardens say, if you shoot a tiger, make sure he's dead. Otherwise, you're the dead one. A wounded beast turns into a devil. No fear, just a shadow with one goal: destroy the source of the pain. In those stories, there are no accidents. He comes for you. A taiga winter cabin. Small wooden shack in the middle of nowhere. It feels like a fortress, stove humming, kettle boiling, but the walls? One log thick. The door? Barely hanging on. Imagine sleeping there. Deep night. Pitch black outside, warm inside. And through your sleep, you hear breathing. Heavy. Deep. Right behind the door. Then the crunch of snow under something massive. Someone is circling the house. The dogs are under the bunks, dead silent. They know exactly who's knocking. Tigers get curious about cabins when it's quiet. They check the windows. People wake up to find paw prints on the glass. The beast stood on hind legs and looked in. What did he want? To see the sleepers? Food? Usually they just check and leave. But the horror is that you're helpless inside. If he decides to come in, that door won't stop him. One time, a tiger jumped on the roof. Crash, shingles cracking, debris falling on the guys inside. They sat there with guns pointed up until dawn, too scared to breathe. The tiger just warmed himself on the chimney and left. That feeling, total helplessness before nature, it changes you. What's scarier than a hungry tiger? Almost nothing, except a tigress with cubs. The mom instinct is absolute. A male might calculate the risk and bail. A mother? No. She attacks without a pause if she thinks you're a threat to the kids. It's instant. The problem is, cubs are dumb. They're curious kittens. They see a human and want to check out the funny two-legged thing. And that is a trap. You don't have time to think they're cute. If you see a cub, you are in the disaster zone. Somewhere within 50 yards is 400 pounds of fury watching you. She won't roar. She won't scare you. She attacks silently to delete the threat. The rule? Slowly. Do not turn your back. Retreat. Go back the way you came. Don't look at the cub. Don't try to film it for TikTok. Your whole body needs to say, I am leaving. I don't care. Any sharp move, any sound at the cub, and it's game over. You're walking on a razor's edge. We think predators have perfect vision. Mostly, they do. They see movement perfectly. But stationary objects? Sometimes they glitch, especially in twilight. One of the main reasons for accidental attacks is mistaken identity. It happens to mushroom pickers, people gathering pine cones. You're bent over, rustling in the bushes, wearing camo. To a tiger, that hunched over silhouette looks exactly like a boar or a bear. Prey. He starts stalking, gets to striking distance, and only at the very last second, when the person stands up or yells, does the tiger realize, whoa, not a boar, human. Imagine that freeze frame. You stand up to stretch your back, and a tiger is mid-air, flying at you, trying to slam the brakes on all four paws. He's as shocked as you are. Often, momentum carries him right past you, maybe knocks you down, but he doesn't bite. He runs away in panic. But you? You're left with a heart attack. Moral of the story? In tiger country, don't sneak around. Use your voice. Picture it. You're standing there and an orange lightning bolt flies at you. The roar pops your eardrums. Snow spraying everywhere. You think, this is it. But 5 yards away, he slams the brakes, skids to a halt, and lets out a deafening bark. This isn't the end. This is a bluff, a mock charge. This is the hardest test of your life. If you run, you die. If you faint, he might nip you just to see if you're alive. In that second, you have to turn into stone. No fuss. Zoologists say the tiger doesn't want to fight with a weird opponent. He wants to scare you off. Your job? Hold your ground. Don't stare into his pupils. That's a challenge. But keep your eyes on his face. And yeah, sounds crazy, but confident, angry swearing has saved lives. A clear voice, banging a stick on a tree, clanking metal. Show him. I'm not scared. I'm dangerous too. If you don't flinch, he often loses interest. He respects grit. But what if he's not bluffing? Hand to hand with a tiger? Zero chance. We're soft, slow, weak. But there is a hack. Experienced woodsmen carry a signal flare.
To a beast, that bright flame, the hissing, the smoke, it's supernatural horror. It breaks his brain. Fire is the one thing a tiger fears more than hunger. A reserve inspector actually fought off a tiger with one. The beast jumped, and the guy pulled the pin right in the tiger's face. A jet of fire hit him right in the nose. The tiger did a backflip in panic and tore through the bushes to get away. Without that flare, dead. So, simple rule. Going into the taiga, take a flare. You might be too shaky to aim a gun, but a flare creates a wall of fire he won't cross. It's your lifeline. We hear about man-eaters in India. It happens there. But here? The Amur tiger doesn't look at us as food. We're bony and risky. True man-eaters in Russia can be counted on one hand. And almost always, when they did the autopsy, they found the sad truth. A poacher's bullet rotting inside, driving the beast mad with pain. Or he was old, teeth gone, couldn't catch a boar anymore. It's a vicious circle. Humans cripple the tiger kills a human, humans kill the tiger. Is it the beast's fault? No. He was trying to survive. A healthy Amur tiger would rather starve than walk into a village to hunt people. He's too proud for that. The tragedies are almost always on us, our cruelty or our stupidity. People who've survived a meeting, who looked him in the eye and walked away, they say you're never the same. When you look into those amber eyes, you don't just see an animal, you see eternity. A force that owned these forests for millions of years before we even existed. It's a mix of respect and realizing how small you are. In the city, we're kings. In the taiga, face to face with a tiger, you're just a guest. And honestly, not a very welcome one. A photographer I know sat in a hide for 3 weeks for one shot. He told me, when he finally stepped out, I forgot to press the button. I just watched. He was perfect. Every muscle, the steam from his jaws. He looked right at me, and I realized he allowed me to be here. That moment strips away your arrogance, teaches you humility. You realize the world doesn't actually revolve around you. That's the lesson the tiger teaches. There aren't many left, maybe 600, 700 in the whole massive taiga. Their home is shrinking. We cut the forests, we kill the boars. The tiger's getting crowded. That's why we're seeing them more. He has nowhere to retreat. We're at a fork in the road. Either we learn to live side by side, leave him his forest, his peace, or our grandkids will only see the Amur tiger in videos. Saving the tiger isn't just about saving a pretty cat. It's about saving the soul of the taiga. As long as the tiger is there, the forest is alive. It's wild. It's real. So next time you walk under the cedars, remember, you're not alone. And maybe, right now,
Attentive yellow eyes are watching you from the shadows. Not with evil, just asking a question. Who are you, human? And why are you here? Meeting a tiger is a lottery where the bet is your life. But usually, the tiger gives you that life back and just walks away. Respect the laws of the taiga. Don't run, don't turn your back, and don't shoot unless you absolutely have to. Let the master remain where he belongs, on the throne. Stay safe out there.